What's happening in Nigeria is very peculiar. The kind of terrorism that's in Nigeria. It's a hybrid. It's a mix of the global resurgence that is documented and an ancient strain that has been in Africa that started in 1804. The coming together of these two has, given birth to something that is even more brutal than whatever the Al-Qaeda ever had to offer before. So the questions Nigeria should be asking is this. Simply put, does it make sense to negotiate with terrorists, especially extremists who use the cover of religion? Is their word reliable? Do they ever honor their word in any way? Now the truth is simple. If Nigeria really understood what was going on, you'd discover something that a lot of people who are calling for negotiations are either ignorant of the kind of challenge that Nigeria is facing, first of all, or one of the methodologies that they use to propagate terror is to infiltrate a country. So some of the people who are clamoring for negotiation are people whose records need to be checked. And the truth is, I've said this before, until the Nigerian president and the agencies under him learn how to concatenate, they would never really be able to get a handle of this problem. Until the president of Nigeria learns how to concatenate, he's going to be a victim of intrigues that follow terrorism. Let me give you an analysis that his own experts should have given him by now. What he doesn't realize is that we are dealing with something that is a socio-economic, socio-cultural, socio-judicial, socio-financial, socio-lingual hydra. It's a many-headed monster that disguises itself under the cloak of religion. The strength of this kind of terrorism is the cloak of religion it pretends to wear. Look, the same thing happened in 1095 when Pope Urban II made a speech and started out something that lasted practically 200 years. The so-called crusades of those days lasted about 200 years. There was a lot of senseless killing. They killed a lot of Jews, killed a lot of Christians. And I tell you something, the cloak it was wearing then was the Catholic cloth. Right now, it's wearing an Islamic cloth. The mistake that Shekau made is this. When Shekau went on air, laughing like a maniac, claiming that God told him to sell the girls and that nobody could tell him anything otherwise, he became a public embarrassment even to those who are sympathetic to his cause. And you see, he helped us to make people see that Shekau and those who are after his order, the Boko Haram, they are not Muslims. They are simply terrorists using something called the devil's arithmetic. It's an ancient trick. It's devilish. His behavior was so devilish that a few hours later, when the strategists who are behind him discovered the effect of that great mistake, they tried their best to do what I call damage controls. They went and sewed tunics for the girls and tried to twist the story to give it a new spin, that the girls were now converted and that he was looking to exchange in order to powder his image from the devil that he had shown himself to be to somebody that would be acceptable to most Muslims. But you see, the game was up. It was too late. So as we speak right now, the girls are a burden to him. If he sells them, he will put Islam in a bad light. Now, because they like to use Islam as a cover, he would not dare sell them anymore. He cannot further molest them. He cannot do anything. He himself would rather return those girls right now. But he cannot do it without saving his face somewhat. So we're in a situation right now where I can assure you that the girls are going to be back. They're going to be back because if he does anything to those girls, it's going to reflect negatively on Islam. And Muslims are not going to find it funny. And the moment you uncover that disguise, the religious disguise, what is left is devilish. So definitely, I can tell you something, he has to find a way to return those girls safely. The so-called negotiators who are going there, you need to ask them, because what they're going to do is to bail Shekau out of a very tough situation. And while they are bailing him out, they're going to trade away the lives of Nigerian citizens. And I'll tell you why. Part of the agreements they're going to make now is they're going to say that all the girls and the people released, there should be no disclosure of what happened to them, all the rape, all the terrible things, all the beatings, all the assaults that they suffered in the camp. The so-called negotiators are going to try and gag the girls. And I'm going to tell you this again, that no matter what anybody says, apart from Boko Haram moles who are planted to pretend as if they are negotiators, there is no expert who understands the tactics of terror and, the mindset, the demonic mindset of these people who will talk about any serious negotiation with them. I want to say that Chibok is symptomatic of where Nigeria is right now. I believe that we're about to break into a great dawn. But the value to human worth of the Nigerian citizen is what we see at play at Chibok. Now, one of the major reasons why we had to bring the mothers out of Chibok through sniper territory and all that into Lagos was because, first of all, there's some wickedness. Some wicked people began to spread rumors that the children were not even kidnapped at all. Now, I've heard a lot of noise. I've seen a lot of people talking about the girls coming back and all that. But what we began to point out was that if we really care for the girls, the care starts with caring for their parents. For instance, there's one mother who dropped dead. The tension was so much. Immediately we got the mothers into Lagos here. The first thing we did was to put doctors to give access to medical health care. And I can tell you something, a lot of them had high blood pressure. Many of them are distressed. Many of them are showing signs of trauma and all that. And even the girls who were released, they just took them and threw them back into the community. It's inhuman. It's not right. This is not the way to treat the citizens of any nation. And that's the reason why we thought to come in and assist, to help to steer the nation in the right direction. We've spoken to the mothers, and I tell you something, it will be difficult for anybody not to weep tears. And I'm talking about tears of sorrow if you listen to the accounts of the mothers and some of the girls. Some of the girls that I spoke to the uncle, spoke to the parents. One of the girls, for instance, when she was in that horrible forest, was being assaulted by different men, up to 15 men, sexually abused on a daily basis. So what we have there is something very devilish, definitely. And these experiences are really horrible. Some of the women, they speak the Chibok language, but I had an interpreter who was interpreting for us. It's not the kind of experience that you want anybody to go through.